large, massive, green, toxic algae blooms that came from Lake Okeechobee during these high-level events, high discharge events out of Lake Okeechobee. They were coming with that fresh water came that microcystin algae, that toxic blue-green algae, and it covered the estuary here.
An algae crisis threatening our treasure coast.
A cycle of despair and disgust amidst promises made and broken.
Billions of gallons of water are rushing from Lake Okeechobee to our coastline.
How much pollution is too much? How much danger is too much? How much before this will stop?
Both 2016 and 2018, we had pretty severe algal blooms in the St. Lucie estuary. Those algal blooms, of course, caused from discharges from Lake Okeechobee.
Too much nutrients into a system like water bodies, it really causes major problems.
Lake Okeechobee is toxic. It's toxic because of the nutrients that are still flowing into the lake, and it's toxic because of the legacy nutrients that sit on the bottom of the lake that have been dumped into it year after year after year.
There are a lot of legacy nutrients on land. So the agricultural areas north of Lake Okeechobee, which have been used for many decades, which can be just as important as the legacy load that's in the lake.
Everything is flowing in with no filtration. And then all of the phosphorus and nitrogen caught in the sediment and everything else just pours into the river and builds up on the bottom of the river in that muck.
It causes algae blooms to occur, it causes over-nutrification of the sediments and silts. But what happens is the legacy part of it is it settles and those nutrients accumulate.
Those legacy nutrients, they need to be dealt with. They need to be removed every time that there's a storm that comes across the state of Florida. Those nutrients, they get churned up. The water becomes agitated and it becomes more likely to fuel those toxic freshwater algal blooms that are so bad on Lake Okeechobee that unfortunately we see dumped into our coasts.
Despite our best management, we still have something we're not controlling for. And it's continually putting nutrients in the system.
If we can stop them from coming into the system, stop the pollution from coming in, what are we going to do about the legacy that's there?
When we're worried about algal blooms, it's always, the three things they need: light, warm temperatures generally make them grow fast, and nutrients. Nitrogen and phosphorus.
So one of the things that I was really happy about, in addition to rewriting the manual for the Corps of Engineers about when and why and how they would discharge water, was also writing a demand that the legacy nutrients in Lake Okeechobee be dredged out of that lake. It's an effort to help clean that lake so that hopefully at some point in the future we're able to say it's not the most toxic that lake has ever measured.
Well, part of the Indian River Lagoon South plan is to dredge about 7.9 million cubic yards of this silt, sediment, and muck that's at the bottom of the St. Lucie estuary.
The areas that are hot spots, we have to focus on. We have to pull out the legacy nutrients.
Discharges can be prevented. They are a matter of policy, choosing winners and losers, and choosing to whether you're going to do what the sugar industry asks, which is keep Lake Okeechobee artificially high so that when there's summertime rains, as we experience every summer in the state of Florida, that excess water has to be dumped off into our coastline, or whether you do something more natural, like allow the lake to go down in the drier winter months and then have room for those summertime rains to fill Lake Okeechobee back up without having to dump toxic water onto our coastal communities. This is preventable if you do policy that is common sense and for the people, instead of policy that is just for one big industry that only cares about their own interests.